What up, what up, what up? What's up for those of you on YouTube? Good morning. Those of you in the chat room, what's up? Yeah, I know it's been a while. As usual, as you're tuning in, remember our disclaimer. Remember that day trading is risky business. All right. um, for those of you on YouTube, my screen layout is a little different since I haven't been streaming. I'm thinking maybe I can pull down my positions window. But before that, though, let's just check the watch list here. UOKA leading the way. Does it still look good? So, as more people tune in, I'll talk. I'll just kind of mention why I wasn't here for so long, but I don't want to repeat myself too often here. So I'll wait, a little after the bell. Yeah, this one has sold off a little bit. Doesn't really look that good, but perhaps there's a double bottom coming here, and it could curl back up around this $2 range. But nothing, at least this one, not at the highs. XRX. There's only 10 minutes to go. This one doesn't look good at all. BFRI. By the way, I can show the scans here on the other side of my screen. I can show the gap scan here for a couple of minutes. BFRI looks young, but maybe there could be something here over time. Yeah, this one just started pushing up a couple minutes ago. Hard to say if it'll hold up, but and it's right above $1. PLBY is the next one down. Okay, this one's been moving since 9 a.m. or yeah, pretty much. Not the strongest chart, but it is holding up fairly well. I'm gonna put this one on my other screen. PLBY. No pre-market trading for me here the last like week and a half. Yeah, the chat room is like very happy that the pastor is back. I mean, we're already so low on the gap scan here, right? DDC, I mean, MNTS, there's a couple other ones here. There's only 6 minutes. There's 6 minutes to the opening bell here. So I'm thinking the plan will be to wait, sit on my hands the first 3 to 5 minutes until something opens up because everything is kind of dormant. It's hard, it's not like how, a year or two ago, you can easily tell, hey, this stock is gonna go up $1 right away. Like, it's definitely a little different. So being patient pays off here a lot. So not looking to jump the gun and just, we have to wait for the stock to come to us. And if there is none, then, avoid taking any trades. Yeah, it definitely feels good to be back. I mean, it's been like a good 2 weeks. But it's good to be back live. I've been trading, but I haven't been live or even doing a recap really. We even got crispy trades in the building here. Oren, what's up? What's up? Yeah, just looking to take it slow here. If we get a surprise move and a stock does end up being aggressive, then we want to step up to the plate. But we don't want to start the day by swinging wildly and jumping in on anything that moves right away. It's about finding something that holds up that can give a steady move. So into the open, I'll watch BFRI and then, kind of switch off depending on what else might push up on the scans. We cannot keep the scans on the entire time though. So into the open, we will go back to single screen. Again, my layout is not saved here for the live stream. So what I can do, I mean, some people love P&L. So I'll just put this here. Um, it'll be covered for the most part, which, I guess wouldn't make sense. Maybe I can just pull this up. I can find something to fill to maybe fill the gap here at the bottom of the screen. There's 4 minutes left. Maybe I'll put the halt. I'll put the halt scanner at the bottom just to have something here. All right, now we're full screen. All right, I think that could work for now. A little makeshift, but But if I trade through Weeble, then I'm not gonna have the P&L up here, sadly. But I'll we'll see, depending on what stock moves. Oh man, it feels good to be back. By the way, hit that thumbs up if you're tuning in, and if you're new to the channel, you can always consider subscribing. You sound like your old self from years ago. So, I haven't streamed in the last 2 weeks. Pretty much we had a death in the family here, and just ended up taking the time off completely. I know I promised to at least do recaps, but sometimes sometimes things get a little, obviously if you lose someone in your family, it can get a little emotional, right? It can get a little sad, but ultimately, you know, you have to celebrate the individual, and you got to bounce back, right? Can't stay down forever. You gotta get back on the horse, just like with trading, right? You gotta get back on the horse. So BFRI is selling off here. UOKA, on the other hand, is curling back up. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up as you're tuning in on YouTube. There's less than a minute to go, and we're back over VWAP, which is a good sign. Pre-market highs are 276. We'll see how this one shapes up here. It still has a ways to go, though. But good, at least we're back over to VWAP. We got 42 here for a high. Slow and steady here. Slow and steady. Okay, it's definitely starting to look much better here. I'm gonna start watching for trades. There's a big push through 50. 69. Oh wow, it's just teleporting 80. See, sometimes waiting for confirmation, this can be the issue, right? We're kind of just halting up now, 93. A bit of a surprise move there. Okay. The resumption is up next. Now that was a surprise, right? We'll get stuff like this every once in a while, so it's not too much of a surprise, but it is still a surprise. The first minute, a little slow and sideways. Once we got over that 45 level, it took off. So we're over the pre-market high. All right. By the way, am I on single screen? We're over the pre-market high. We're halted up. I think the dip and rip should be good, but I don't want to overtrade that level. So I'm thinking one trade only for the resumption. If the initial dip and rip isn't straightforward and clean, then I'll wait for a pullback because we're up pretty big. I think overtrading it, around $3 could be a problem if we're not seeing a clean move. MNTS, CCHH, others hitting the scans. UOKA, resumption. So there's about 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and it's showing sideways at 293. For those of you in the chat room, is anyone in? Am I coming up again? I don't know. I think I'll wait on this one. Yeah, there's some cheaper stocks moving. Again, CCHH also hit the scans. MI. MNTS though, that one is around 780. We got a minute, 27 seconds to resumption. Watching the dip and rip, And only the dip and rip. If we don't see a clean move, then looking to wait for a pullback. I'm going to be taking this with a market order too, so it's going to be on the other platform. $293. $293. I want to keep in mind that we did move very quickly just now, so on the resumption trade, I don't mind giving the dip a little bit of time to open up, assuming we get the dip, but if we're to see new lows, I'll be back out. Little less than 1,000 shares here, smaller size. If we get a second leg, definitely we'll look to size up some more, but watching here, 7 seconds, 293. Long around 80. Cutting it. We got 63 lows. Right here, I want to be patient. High is at 305. I don't mind getting candlesticks here. It might halt up again, 34. In at 83, out at 80. So I'm gonna miss the bigger dip there. We had 305 to 80, but you know, we had a bigger dip, 63. Once this stock is done, it'll be done. So, you know, we'll see how the second resumption goes. Once it starts to pull back, it more than likely will mean that it's done. Like if we see like a backside dip, I'm not confident that that dip will hold up to like retest the highs, you know? So watching the second resumption here. Zay out a little early there, but still a 10-cent winner at least. Someone else in the chat saying out 1 second too soon. Yeah, once we started holding like 77, I was convinced like it's not going to really give a big dip, so I took it right there. We didn't get, you know, we didn't get any immediate push, so back out for the new low. Didn't really get a chance to get back in. I mean, it's given two big moves though, you know. This is where if you didn't catch any of it yet, you gotta definitely continue to stay firm, right? We wanted to take it a little slow into the open just to make sure we you know, we're watching a good one. Resumption. So I'd say so far for me about two entries came there. How far will we go? Will we go to $4 or 335 the high? In due time, we will find out. I'd love to see a cleaner dip and rip. Like, you know, can we price in that low in the immediate drop, which is typically what we see. There's a minute and 58 seconds showing about a 7-cent higher resumption. I was mentioning too, like I hope I see candlesticks, right? Like meaning, like, will we see like a consolidation here and then a pattern for a new high? It was, you know, straight up. So until it bucks this trend here, you know, it seems like once the 1 minute, well, 10-second candlestick make the new high, or we just make the new high on, you know, a high of day time frame, we're going. Let's say a high day time frame. You know, break of 245, and then back over 294. 35 seconds. It's showing 10 cents higher. Watching the dip and rip again. 20 seconds. UOKA. 350 now. $380 highs. Can we see a dip? Damn. Okay. Wow. Nice. Nice. Again, once the pullback comes, that might be it. Break of 420 is there if it comes, but you know, again, we're pretty extended. This could be the beginning of the end if we don't see the new high. It looks like it's done. We'll see if something else hits the scans. That was a good move up, but only a couple entries. We had 346 low after that last resumption. Was watching for a retest. I would have had to take like high 50s or low 60s. We didn't really retest that breakdown of 50 again. So no entries there. And again, that might be it. This might be backside here already, unless we get a new high again. So about 4 entries. The first one, I'm waiting the first couple of minutes, so there's no chance I would have gotten in there. Second one, I'm in a little too high, tight stop on that pullback. We missed the low 265, and it's an instant push over 3. I'm not really taking the breakouts as much, more so the pullback trades. But, if we're not getting like a retest or consolidation to get in versus the prior lows, sometimes it's a little difficult to get the entry. You could always be a little bit more aggressive to buy higher. So again, we had 346 low. I could have bought 360, but it's a tough trade, especially if we're going to retest the low and you're already in like 16 cents higher. Especially if there's a new low by a couple cents, then you stop out and it's like a 20-cent loss to then curl back up. Right here, I'm not interested in it yet. I kind of need to see closer to the highs. We've been in this market where once these stocks are done, they're done. So 377, big level here as the 1-minute candlestick is making a new high. And we are seeing a bottoming wick on the 5. So if it does end up making a new high, it means business to potentially go to 5, maybe 6. If not, this is still backside. But it'll be good if the 5-minute candlestick closes with this good bottoming wick here around 380. Would be a good sign. The fine line, CCHH. Oh, big move on CCHH. The halt up on that one is at 96. Back over back over 4 rather on UOKA, right? And closer to the highs could be interesting. Now, I'll ask myself like, if a stock like that comes up and it's like a hot market every day, would I do better? I think so, right? But what happens is that we see one of those stocks like UOKA like once a week, So in the beginning, when before it starts to break out, it's just so hard to tell if it's going to be able to do anything. So if you wait for that 2-3 minutes for confirmation, you could end up missing the first move. And if there's no consolidations for patterns, then it's just straight price action and a couple entries. I'm on the sidelines. CCHH perhaps bottoming out. Taking a starter here on CCHH. Risking about 2 cents. Small size. Watching to see if it gets up to 87, 90 area. I did think about going short on UOKA. I did think about it. Show me 87, 88. I'm only in with 1,600 shares. Incredible. Nice. It's a nice move. I'm going to be watching the next setup here. $60, I'll take it. There's a new 5-minute candlestick here coming in. Actually, no, we're a minute in. Are we going to double top here, or will we see a push through 90? It looks like a quick rejection there. 92 to 89. You see, the other stock in this situation teleported up a couple times, right? Over the highs. CCHH, maybe a little extended here off the pullback. I'm going to take a starter again. I'm going to look to add into this move here. I think we can definitely retest. Our 5-minute candlestick is looking a little weaker. Yep, cutting that trade. All right, so much for us being able to retest. Green 50 to red 50 there. Not too good. Back on the sidelines. All the opportunities today has come on pretty much market order trades. So nothing on let me pull this over. Nothing on the other platform yet. So a little green to red there. Green like $60 to red. Or maybe less than that. Green $40 maybe. The candlestick has a minute left. I mean, we gave back so much of the move there. 93 to 84. We pretty much had a gravestone doji on the pullback. Yeah, UOKA again. Once those stocks like that give a uptrend move that strong, the moment a red candle comes, that's it. If not, you think, oh, we're pulling back on the 5-minute to see another push to the highs. Nah, you got to be careful of that trap right there because it will take you to the depths. Trying here for over 90 again. Oh my god. Oh shit. I'm gonna try to add. I'm gonna get filled all the way to the highs. Jeez. Watching for over 92. Oh. And I'm out 91. Damn, son, I tried to add at 90. I'm like, it's already at 92. Jeez. It's having a bit of resistance. Will we be able to push through 92? You gotta be careful with the pullbacks though, man. So 93, we had the right idea, but it, the candlestick on the 5 looked like a gravestone doji, right? So we pushed through 92 there. Do we have what it takes to get over 1? CCHH. There's 95. I'd love to see another dip here before it attempts to push. Trying 90. taking the 2 cents and watching again. Or 1 cent, I suppose, depending on my fill. Tight stop here. Back over 93 should retest the highs. If not, we might need a bigger pullback. So watching 93 for the ad. Okay, not quite. Okay, can we see the retest of the high? Which was 96. So that first dip ended up being pretty good. Probably could have just held that one, right? I had like 91. Yeah. UOKA. Titanic. Titanic shipwreck. Come on, retest the highs. Retest the highs. Son of a gun. A little choppy there with some trades because it's just so slow. But it looks like it's getting there. So I just needed to hold that 91 entry. It might go over 1. It might. It's looking like it could. We could see a double bottom here. I think the biggest thing right now is to just be careful of like the teleportations, like the 5 cent drops. Watching to see if we do get the double bottom here. If not, tight stop. This is where if it's gonna go over one, it can maybe attempt to push right here. I'm holding just a couple of shares here now. Is it worth it a third time? So this is a bit of a rejection before the highs. The 5-minute candlestick is red. Might be a higher low down there. Yeah. I gotta, it's a little tough, but could chase some of those entries. Watching the selling pressure. Okay, looks like it's coming down. So we're giving out that support at 90, 92 area. At 90, 92. We're still kind of flat on the day. Again, missing some of the move on UOKA. We didn't really have that many entries. Waiting to see if we get a red to green here again. Now this one, unlike UOKA, the move up was so aggressive that once the red candle comes backside, right? This one has the history of like going up and down, so a pullback could recover. So far we got 86, still kind of early in this dip here. I'm going to take a starter here again. Tight stop. The VWAP is slightly below us, but still tight stop. Back out and waiting. This will be interesting here. Let's see how it reacts if it does see some more selling pressure. So definitely watching the dip. Looks like it's not bottomed out yet. Let me zoom out a little bit. I mean, we're pulling back a lot on our 5-minute chart. Even I wouldn't say it's backside yet. Still on this one compared to UOKA, you know, like I'm gonna take a starter here, and I'll look to add lower. If this consolidation breaks down as well, then it could be approaching backside. Like we've pulled back quite a bit already. So I'll pretty much be risking like 2 cents here. 2 cents to make like 6 or 8, depending on how much it can bounce. If we can see 90 again, 92. If not, it's cooked, and that's it. By the way, I don't think I saw any other callouts. I probably should be in this trade with more size, but kind of leaving a little wiggle room in case it retests the lows. But if it doesn't, that's all right. Not looking to sell unless this gets to like 90, 92. Depending on, let's just kind of see how it goes here, though. Yeah, we definitely needed more size, but that's fine. It's a good trade. We might see a pullback here. It could go back to 97. Over time. That was quick too. I didn't expect it to go up that quickly, but Oh boy. Does it have what it takes to get to 95? Here's 94, 95. Hopefully it teleports into the halt up, which would be at 103. Honestly, that's the next best setup because it's like extended again here towards the highs. A halt up is the only thing I could trade now. The pullbacks are tough because it could easily pull all the way back down to 82 again. We'll see how it does. Sometimes these stocks like this, they go all day, you know? I don't know what it'll do here because from 82 to 94 is already a pretty big move. Maybe it goes for the new high. It could double top. I honestly didn't expect to see like 97, but we're here. 92, 95, and then maybe a bigger dip. So it's beating the expectation here. Again, on UOKA for me, the only way that I really like dominate that stock and like make like 5, 10,000 is if we're seeing that type of move every day. Then there's no question that I'll be buying higher to sell higher, you know, taking every single dip, even though the first one fails. It's like in these market conditions to trade like that, I find that it doesn't result in success. Like it's just too aggressive for what we're seeing. And then only one out of every 5 days you get a stock like that. More of the stocks are like this, where it's like super slow. So trying to bring that energy, I mean, it's kind of tough to flip that switch. It's tough to flip the switch, but nevertheless, out of the 4 entries, maybe we could have gotten at least one or two. The third one in particular, out of that second halt, where we had like 340. Once we had that, because we had 350, then 355, then it came down about 10 cents. And then it's back to 358, 360, 374. And we went back a low of 55. Like, that was the lowest we went back down. And I'm like watching to see if we'll go below 50 to take it. And even that, there's a risk. The risk there is it flushes out all the way down like 20, right? But I'm like, okay, I'll go for that trade. I don't want to take it high and be in at 60. and being 15, 20 cents off the highs. And it's right back up over 4. At most, maybe I could have been in with a starter. That was about it. So CCHH consolidating high. Maybe it gives the push through 96 here. Or 98 rather, maybe 98, 96, 98. Will it be up or down? So if you're now tuning in on the live stream, we've had a death in the family here, so we weren't here for quite a few days. We'll definitely post recaps here moving forward. We probably won't be live every day, but we'll post recaps. $98 resistance. So far, it's chopping a bit. I'm pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting it to go. I thought it was going to fail miserably, but pretty good. Now, the next step is for it to get over 1 and hold. It should go. Can we see it? It's churning a bit. We've already lost 2 cents trying to get that. And bro, do not chop me out like this. This is a terrible break of 1. The worst break of 1 I've seen. Teleport to 10. Buying higher to sell higher, not really working there. It's stuck, bro. It's stuck. I didn't take that dip there. $96 to $99, not bad. I wouldn't want to see it below like 94. You know, if it needs to hold high, I think, being that we made the new high of day already. If we pull back like below 90, it's like too much. If it consolidates in this area, is not bad. Big level here. I'm leaning on the side of just walking away and taking the pocket change. Not not a good, you know, it's not really a good oh, jeez. It's not really a good day. It's not really a good day by any means, but you know, we managed to risk. It would have been a good to great day slash great day if we would have gotten the other stock, but we didn't really get much there. So we'll take the pocket change here. We've had 3 red days actually. We started the month with a good green day, and like we've had 3 red days, so that wasn't good. So I guess any sort of green will be good here. We'll take it, and then right now, honestly, I think large caps are offering more opportunities. Right, some of our favorite companies are selling at a discount, and I'm buying the dip and looking to buy more in my favorite company. Well, not company, but my favorite companies with an S at the end. Netflix, one of those tickers that I'm looking forward to adding more, especially if we can keep going lower. I want to go at least 6 figures in minimum in this trade, and 1,000 shares plus over time. The dollar cost averaging in. I think this one can easily be back up at the highs over time, months or years. It's cash that I don't need, so it'll just be going into it and just sitting there, even if it takes 2-3 years, right, on the longer time horizon. But more realistically, this thing could be back at 100 in 5 to 8 months. But yeah, if we continue lower, I'm going to look to keep adding, and there are some other ones, some other companies that are big time companies selling at a discount, in my opinion. Microsoft, not another one of those companies. 550 to 490. Of course, Bitcoin and Robinhood. Robinhood is also other companies that people are watching. I got my eyes on those. PLTR, Palantir. I don't know. Oracle. I don't know about those two, but some people are interested in them. I'm not. Oracle for me. I don't know, man. That one I'm not touching. Also, UNH. UNH. Um, Steve and I, we sold, we got lucky, honestly. We sold, I mean, I sold kind of early for 33. You know, I could have sold at 390 in this earnings call here, but the earnings were okay, were decent, and we sold off. So I was thinking a quick rebound. The last of my shares I sold at 353, but I got lucky because if I was still holding this, I would have definitely went red in this thing. Average it slightly below 300. This would have been bad to like be in here, but this one I'm not touching again. That's for sure. And this drop here, the government isn't going to be giving us much Medicaid. I can't remember the time horizon if it's for like the next year or two, but or Medicare, Medicaid, maybe Medicaid. I'm forgetting the difference. One is for old people, one is for young people. I think Medicaid, yeah, Medicaid. They're not going to be giving us much money, so which means the health insurance companies will be making less. So thank goodness we got out of this one in time. Sometimes, sometimes you can get lucky, right? Other times, the luck is not on your side, and before you know it, you're down on your average, and you have to decide how you want to manage risk. For me, it wasn't, break even wasn't my stop, so I'd have had to take the loss down here, which would have been tough. At least like 8,000, which would have been brutal. CCHH 97 still fighting. But interestingly, the SPY, right? SPY is still at all-time highs. So for me, I'm not going in super heavy on everything just yet. Just kind of like dollar cost averaging in still, because if we do see like another tariff threat or something like that, we can easily see like the SPY go down 5-10%, maybe 15% even, off of some other news too, depending. And all these companies that are at a discount can still go lower, so have tons of ammunition ready, but still dollar cost averaging in slowly. So large caps doing large cap things. The SPY, for those of you who know, when we had the tariff drop the first time, I got SPY at 510 and I sold up at 595. And I can't believe I sold so early, Like we have 690 right now. 510 down here. Can put 2 trend lines. Just brutal to be out so early. Brutal. And at the time, 95 wasn't quite all-time highs, but close to it. And this thing just went on a tear. Almost 700 here. So, a good reminder to, you got to sell into the greed, and not take the trade off too early. Not that I have FOMO really, but I kind of just, hey, we're at all-time highs, I'll just take profits. But, at the end of the day, what's the temperature of the market? Do we have more bullish catalysts coming? Rates more than likely to go down over time. Probably not to where it was, but, a good amount more. Rates go down, assets go up, companies go up. So probably could have, probably could still be holding even now on the SPY, and probably look to sell maybe a little bit more towards the end of this year. There's going to be another big drop at some point though. So when the SPY does tank again, I'll be waiting, and hopefully we get like another 20% drop, 30% drop would be great, 40% drop, 50% drop would be great. And obviously not for the people who are looking to retire anytime soon. If you're looking to retire, that type of drop is pretty devastating, of course. But for those young bucks like myself, a big drop means big smile. And Gold and silver, I'm not in on gold and silver, and you know, years ago I used to watch this channel called Illuminati Silver. I think they were from three guys that are from, I think, England, right? They're from UK, and that's a great channel, honestly, if you're into gold and silver. Um, they might have had a name change over that time, but I mean, I watched them for like a year straight. This is like 3, 4 years ago, and the call outs there, man, were pretty spot on, actually. Very impressive, with transparency and just, you know, those type of channels you don't really find too often. But that's for gold and silver stuff. I got I got a couple of people that I know who they have gold mines. You know, of course, over the years, fuel has went up. Fuel is like way more expensive. I remember because I've had conversations with people that used to sell and buy diesel, and like, you know, the profits and the expenses that they would like, you know, the cost of fuel, to put it simple, right? It's all relative, right? Back in like 2000, 2005 versus now, and even gold, right? I mean, but gold is so much more expensive that even despite the fuel and stuff going up, like, if you have a good operation going, you know, you're going to the moon. You need good ground too. For those of you who might have watched Gold Rush, right? Gold Rush was a pretty good show. Well, if anyone is banned, they're cooked. They gotta get another. The most you can do is use another user. I'm not looking at gold though. I want to buy the stuff that are down aggressively, and you know, anything that's into the moon, I'll be more patient on. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The SPY is going to drop. I mean, it could go up to 750 or 800, you know, before next big pullback, but there's going to be another one at some point, and right now we might not know the catalyst yet. There's some people who are very, very smart, and you know, they never really lose, like these economist type of guys, where they just understand the data and they can interpret it at a very high level. Some people, they don't lose really in the stock market, right? Like in terms of longer term stuff, but we don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand when there's, you know, a bigger panic and a bigger downturn, that in itself is an opportunity, as long as we're managing risk. And you know, you also have to buy strong companies, because if you're going for individual stocks, you know, there's more risk. You obviously want to diversify a little bit, you know, SPY, things like that. But the next time the SPY is down 30, 40%, there's no way I'm not buying it aggressively. You know, even if it keeps going lower, I'll just buy more. And if it goes to zero, well, bye United States, right? So the SPY will never go to zero unless the country just fails as a whole. So that I have written down, and it's like that's the biggest comfort that you can have in a time where the markets are halting down and all the media is just showing you the worst things possible. The market will never fail, and if it does, money will be irrelevant. So it'll just be an opportunity in those tougher times, you know. But yeah. That's pretty much it for the stream here. Slower day. Um, I can, in the recap, I'll go over the month of January and then the February couple days here so far into the month, just for some transparency. But I think this is it for the stream. Didn't trade outside of Webull today. Kind of took mostly market orders today. The hot stock of the day, we missed the bulk of the move, which was UOKA for anybody who's now tuning in. Had about 4 entries here, and the first one, you know, I'm kind of on the sidelines because I want to see if the stock will be anything. So when we do take off here over 44, I'm not in, and we get a big move all the way to 70 and then to 89. The 10-second chart has a bit of a dip here, and you know, we did have a dip, but the level 2 in this time were very volatile. So I would say this baby pullback here wasn't the cleanest place to be getting in. But the second clean entry came on the resumption. This one for me, just a little tough to not really catch the bottom. Initially, we go up to 306. We had highs of 293. From 293, we get up to 206, and then we had a low of 77. I bought 77, and from there, we only had a high of 89. We didn't really get green, really, and I'm in at 82, 83, so we got a slightly higher fill off the lows, which is fine. I recognize there's a lot of selling pressure coming in, so I cut the trade break even, and we ended up pulling back to 65. This ended up being the bottom here. You know, on resumptions, I mean, I've seen 1,000 resumptions, right? Like, especially the way how this one went up so quick, so volatile, so aggressive. Usually the moves are instant, and here we took 30 seconds to kind of, I mean, you know, I guess it's not that long of a time, but in the eyes of hyper scalping, you know, 30 seconds is still kind of big. But if you're anticipating a bigger drop below that 80 level, you could have caught this move. I took it square and kept it tight. Didn't get a chance to get back in 65, and if you're not in there, you know, the way how the 10-second chart looks, it's like you would think, hey, back over 80 is going to be a clean entry, but you know, it was a little tough. If we come to the 1-minute chart, you know, you're going to kind of see a little less of what happened. But you know, if you caught that trade 65 or 80, if you bought at 95, there's a chance you could have gotten filled at 330, because once it kind of came up there, just, you know, it just teleported. So that was the second entry. The third entry came on the second resumption, and it was pretty much after that backside. In the hotter markets that we've seen in the prior years, we would typically dominate this move because it's happening every day, multiple times a day. So, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous the type of stuff we would do. You know, like if you go back and watch videos, it's like I would have been trying to buy a break of 3 with massive size, pretty much. Like, okay, let's say I missed 65. There's nothing stopping you from saying be cautious over 3, you know, because you're seeing it so many times. And even if it does destroy you, let's say you buy 3, you get filled at 330, and then the stock is back down at 280 and you lose 3,000 in one trade, it's not so bad because there's 2 more of these stocks coming. And even if that day is a botched day and you gave back profits, or you went red, or you know, you're deep red, tomorrow you're going to see 3 more of these. So you already know what to expect and what to do to be, you know, back to all-time highs. So, you know, I think that's part of the trick as well here in this market we've been seeing. So flipping the switch on these hotter stocks, putting the pedal to the metal, as Ross would say, right? Stepping up to the plate, being more aggressive. And if I am to be more aggressive like that, my entries pretty much will double, because I'll also take the breakout trades and not just the dip, right? But in which case, you'd hope you do get a good fill at like 3 and not filled into the highs at 330, because then if that happens, you kind of miss the move still. But high and low on these hotter ones. And once your first major loss comes in, or the first red candle comes in, you got to be ready to say that's it. Like once we break down right here below 380, You gotta not try it. Some people can snipe the backside. Like they can be in at the very bottom of this green candle at 948 on UOKA. They can be in at the low and then selling high into the move up, but you know, you're swimming against the tide here pretty much. So once this happens, you got to be careful of just the sell off. The front side move is usually the best move. And in those hotter markets, we get 2 to 3 legs. So a stock like this sometimes will go till to 12. You know, we got to 4, then we go to 8, and then to 12. So you could see why people, like, when I think about it, like, I should have been making way more money. Like, I should have been making like 10,000 every day because, I mean, the opportunity was there, right? At least like 10,000 every day. Like if this stock goes to 8 and then to 12, like what's stopping you from like, and it's happening every single day. There's, you know, you got to go for it, right? So in terms of like edge and strategy, you know, if you're consistent and you're seeing something consistently working every day, unless you're at a place in your life where you're just completely content and happy, if you want more, the opportunity to make more is available, but you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and take on a little bit more risk. So of course, you want to treat everything the same in terms of the setups you're taking, your risk management, but with increased share size. As long as you can handle that mentally and you're seeing great consistency, then you can make more. There's a ceiling though, because, you know, liquidity, like some guys have pushed it to like going into a stock like this with 100,000 shares, but you get to a place where the liquidity is not enough, you know, and then you kind of run into that ceiling. And unless you kind of, you know, get like a large cap strategy or something, it's kind of tough. But yeah. So for me right now, it's still slow and steady, still slow and steady. These damn stocks, I tell you, man. This was nice though, you know. It was a nice move. Very short-lived, but nevertheless, it was a nice move. We look at it on the 1-minute chart. We had 3 minutes of action in between the halts, and that was our best chance to capitalize. After that, this thing is going back down to $2 or less. But yeah, you know, that's it. I'll bring the rest of stuff here in the recap, and I'll catch you guys later. You know, maybe a live stream every day for the week here. I think I will. Why not? Let's just, you know, we'll show up here every day. Maybe some pre-market stuff as well, but we'll live stream the entire week and upload a recap as well. So tomorrow we'll catch you guys. We'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Yeah, and hopefully we can see more stocks like this here too. Again, you know, maybe like once every 3, 4, or 5 days. Sometimes you see 2, and then like, you know, you wait another week, you see another stock like this again. But these are definitely hyper scalping kind of moves here. But yeah, take care, stay safe, stay green, and see you guys in the recap. And after that, tomorrow at 9:15 market time. I'm definitely keeping an eye on those large caps. Catch you guys later.